Phew. Well, guys, it's a pretty day out. Kind of sucks. A little bit down underneath the weather a little bit. Got some kind of sinus thing going on. I believe it's because it was so wet. And then next thing you know, it started being sunny and 70 degrees here in the southwestern part of Virginia. You know, it's never really occurred to me. I haven't just, sit down and made a video and actually, I guess gave y'all the real version of who I guess I was, who you see on camera is me too. That's my goofy side, my funny side. Just picking around, always trying to think of something to make y'all laugh while I'm working on these old projects that I got going on. But I guess I've never really, sat down and acted, I guess, like my true self on camera, my real self. And I heard that's what people like, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to, slow things down a little bit, and I think we're going to go over all the projects I got, except for one. I can't show you this one I just got here recently. I think I might give you a little bit of sneak peek, but I can't show you just yet. We'll let that be a surprise. But anyway, I figured since y'all probably want to know who, the real cornbread is, well, I guess I'll tell you and, where my journey kind of started with this thing. So I guess I was never really big on social media, and it wasn't until COVID hit and all this was going around. I've always had a little part in me that likes to make people laugh. And in that point in time in my life, I'm not going to get into it, but I was going through a rough patch. So anything to help me get off, my mind off of what I had going on, it helped me. So I started on TikTok making funny videos and this, that, and tether, t'other, and I still have that TikTok today, and it's still up. I just rarely post on it. I'll go on there and post, one every once in a while, but I've kind of been trying to focus all my time on my YouTube channel. But I did some funny videos, and they seemed to, really do good. And then I did one, and it kind of skyrocketed and went from there. And there's no correlation between TikTok and YouTube, so I have I think 176,000 subscribers over there. I think now we're up to 688 on YouTube. So I want to thank y'all because, I wouldn't have as many as I did if it wasn't for y'all, But that's kind of what got me started was, TikTok. I started making a little bit of money here and there and found out that I could make money on TikTok. And, it wasn't much, but, I was still surprised with it, there was 2 videos there at one point in time. I made like $30 on them, but you had to get, way over 1 million views. And now they changed it to where it's, depending on how many people, I guess, respond to it, liking it, sharing it, saving it as their favorite video. It's not so much towards the views anymore. It's towards the responses. And so I kept on trying, with TikTok, and I was like, well, I ain't gave up on it. It's just that I see, my passion, my fuel, and my drive to be towards something more like YouTube. Because a lot of what I like to do, don't get me wrong, I like, making people laugh, but a lot of what I like to do, can correspond and relate to what I see other people do on YouTube. And I guess when it comes down to the brass tacks of things, that's where I've been, focusing my time on. But I know here lately, it's been, kind of harder on me, posting videos on YouTube. So I kind of need to make, more time for it out during the week. It's not that it's too hard for me. It's just, weighing everything out because I take care of my uncle here at home with my wife. He's a handicapped individual, so we got him 24/7, and we pretty much take care of him full time. So we have that. I'm very blessed to be able to be at home because at one point in time I wasn't. I was last job that I had, I was actually a business owner, And I guess it's what kind of slowed things down for me on my social media, because um, I just got too fueled in the business and I didn't have no time for my YouTube. And YouTube is my passion. I love doing it. I love making videos. I love seeing people respond. I love y'all, taking y'all on the journey with me and everything that goes with it. Not only that, I'm beginning to pastor a church. And yeah, I guess it's one of the hardest things, which y'all know I'm a man of faith. I've, talked about Jesus a little bit. I got maybe quoted scripture here and there, but I'm actually trying to pastor a church right now. So I'm trying to juggle all those things and do this at the same time, because, I love doing this, and I've posted a few things over on TikTok, talking about scripture and stuff like that. And man, that's my main goal. It's been my main goal since day one. At first, it was like, if I could make people laugh and people smile, and help them along their day, it's all that mattered. And now it's the same way with anything that I do. But, when I first started doing my TikToks, I was, kind of out there, trying to be around Jesus scene, going back to him. I was kind of out in the world because all the things that I was facing at that time. So we got that. And just trying to do things, my wife, she's going to school, and she has to intern at this place, a couple of days a week, and the appointments that we have with my uncle, taking him to the doctor. And with kids, it's like, if one gets sick, they all get sick. So trying to battle, strep and the flu and COVID and stomach bug and staying away from it, it gets hard sometimes. But we all just push through it and we keep on going on. But that's pretty much it, real me. That's who I am, and that's the reason why I try to do this, and that's the reason why I'm going to keep on doing it and keep on posting videos. I love it. Once you get hooked on it, it's hard to get away from it. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's enough of me. Let's get over here and talk about some of the projects that we got going on, what we're waiting on, and things like that. Well, as far as copper goes, I mean, he's still sitting here. I haven't been driving him that much, because if you watched my latest video about copper, we actually installed some leveling springs and put some mud tires on them, and it made them look a whole lot better. But here's the issue. We're still fighting a ongoing vapor lock problem that just doesn't seem to end. I've actually got something now that I feel like will take care of this problem, but I'm not quite sure if it will. But I do know that where it's vapor locking at is at the carburetor. We fixed it going over top of the valve cover, because last time when it vapor locked, I pulled it off and it still had fuel right there, and it was still allowing it to be pushed, towards the carburetor. So it's vapor locking right there. I believe all that heat soak from the motor is coming up through the carburetor, and that's where it's vapor locking at. And not only that, we also got to remember that it's improving. I was sitting at McDonald's. Now, don't get me wrong, it was cold. I was sitting at McDonald's for 30 minutes, sitting there eating my food, me and my uncle, and it started surging. So I went up to a gas station near where it was at Food City. And when I got there, right as soon as I was pulling around, that's where it shut off. And so I cooled it down and it drove home, just fine. I could usually tell when this thing starts to act up, because it'll hop between second and third right as soon as you hit about 45 when it's doing it. And when it's not doing it, it'll change gears and it'll stay in third, for a pretty good while. But if it's doing it and that gas gets lean, right there about 45 mile an hour, it'll hop back and forth between those gears, because I guess it's just not getting enough fuel for it to run in third gear. Well, I guess it's a day in the life of Cornbread. Cops just showed up to my renter's house where I rent at, so I don't know how this will play out, but I'm just going to keep on going with it. Anyway, this is what I got. A used 4-barrel Holley carburetor. Picked up this thing for $150 off a guy that used to work for me and Shade Tree. And if you don't know who Shade Tree is, that's my best friend. Go and watch the W200 video and you'll see him in it. But he used to work for us. His name's Chris. And he told me, it was just like, I don't need it no more. And he was in need of some money. Offered it to me for $200. That was a good deal as it was, but I'm one to where I can get the best deal I can out of somebody. So my buddy told me, he's like, you probably get that thing for $150. So I offered him $150 and he took it. And it hadn't even been on the truck that long, because the guy who bought this carburetor ended up getting rid of it and bought one of them Sniper 2 EFI fuel systems. It went on an old K10 from what I understand. So I think it's going to work just fine if I can get me an Offenhauser intake and get it on there. But that's what I'm waiting on, is getting that Offenhauser intake. So as soon as we get that, we'll be making another video about putting 4-barrel on this thing. Well, if you couldn't tell, there's an empty spot over here. The Dodge is no longer with us. Yep, that's right. I got rid of the swept line. Yes, and I knew it was a pretty rare truck, but I found out the reason why they're rare. There ain't a lot of them left standing because of all the rust problems that people have with them. And what's funnier is, and I guess it makes more sense, maybe it don't, but you could find more short beds than you can long beds of these pickups. So apparently the long bed is a little bit rare. Not only that, that truck had 4-wheel drive axles, had a 4-speed granny gear in it. It didn't have the 383, it had the 318. But the 318 actually, in 1970, if it's an actual 1970 block, I don't know the casting numbers, I didn't look it up that much, but they actually pulled, I think, 235 horsepower. It was about that time when, emissions started getting, crazy and wonky and all over the place, and the government was coming down real hard on a lot of companies with V8 trucks, and Dodge would do things to kind of get around that, if you know what I mean. It had a 4-barrel Edelbrock, and it was given to me. My buddy that actually, helped me bring it over here, he gave it to me. I gave him a truck and stuff like that, and we just help each other out. That's just, how we are. It's the kind of relationship we have. And if you got a friend like that, you need to keep them, because you don't find friends like that every day. I put it up for 15. Didn't think I was going to get 15 out of it, because, if you watch that video, and if you haven't, please go back and watch it. It's one 1970 Dodge W200. I drive this thing literally from Galax all the way here at Freach, which is about a 20-minute drive. Thing basically has no brakes, and the door on the driver's side almost flops and hits the ground every time you open it. I tuned the carburetor best I could on this thing to make sure that it's going to get here. And the V8 that's in it runs, but it didn't run the best. So I just didn't mess with it, you know, how it was. I just left it like that. If it's going to run, we're just going to take it here. And then about 2 or 3 minutes before we got here, you know, we got to test her out. You know, I slammed her down in, I guess, what you would call second gear, but I call it really first because, you know, you have low gear and then you have 1, 2, 3, and then reverse, you know. So I think that's how it works. It's either low, 1, 2, 3, and then reverse, or I don't think it would have low, 2, 3. Yeah, I think it's low, 1, 2, 3, and then reverse. But anyway, I put her down in what basically second gear is, what I call first gear, and I just stomped on it and let out the clutch, and it done a one-wheel peel, which I thought was pretty good for a truck that halfway, you know, ran with no brakes and really could have fell apart. That toilet, if you could see it back there, was sitting on the back of it, along with a bunch of this other junk. And I didn't tie it down. I just went along with it. I had my buddy behind me, so if anything would have came out, it'd have hit him. So been all right. Right there is Zayden's mini bike, and this was once an electric mini bike, and I turned it to gas. And basically, the only thing I have to do to it is I need to figure out something about the seat, because the seat, it just sits way too up high, and he falls forward on it. So I think I'm going to change something with that and maybe extend the front bars out a little bit, split them right there and extend them. So that way the bike sits a little bit more up. So it'd be kind of like a chopper style bike after that. And maybe the seat won't bother him as bad. And if it still does, then I'll throw something that's going to sit a little bit more low profile on it. But the only thing it needs is this over here. It needs a chain tensioner real bad. And you can order those real easy. Put them on real easy. They have the weldable ones, and then they have the ones now that'll actually attach to the motor. And if the one that'll attach to the motor will fit, I believe I'll get that one. This thing, I done a lot of work to it. And boy, let me tell you, painting all this in a confined space, you'll get real woozy headed real quick. But basically, that motor back there is wore out, it's trash. It needs a straight axle put through here. So I want to put a Predator 212, and that way she'll be able to slide her seat all the way back, because I had to retrofit that fuel tank because it didn't fit this motor. And the fuel tanks that they sell for this motor was way too much, and I wasn't going to spend that money on it. So I just, you know, rigged her up. And the brakes, that drum style brake, terrible. And I need to get that thing fixed because it's getting summertime, and, you know, she needs something to ride around here, you know, summer. She didn't really get to ride it that much because, like I said, one wheel peel around here in my yard just doesn't do well. So I get her a live axle and change that motor out, figure out something with the brakes, you know, she'll have something good to ride this summer. For those that don't know, this is Ferg. Ferg is a 1962 Massey Ferguson 35 Super Deluxe tractor with the 3-cylinder Perkins engine, diesel. And they're a little bit hard to find parts for. You know, injection pump, easy. Radiator, easy. The biggest thing was the fuel injection lines. Somebody tried to take this injection pump off, didn't know what they was doing, cut the injection lines, and I have a couple videos of me trying to get this thing running, and this thing has been a headache because it has been sitting over here since last time I tried to move it. It just wouldn't run, but I found out why. You usually know when the injection pump is bad is because it starts, you know, leaking. And it wasn't leaking when I first got this tractor because it hadn't been ran or touched or messed with in years. Come to find out, injection pump is bad, and it just blows out all kinds of raw fuel everywhere. Not only that, to put the icing on top of the cake, I had to block it up on cinder blocks because this one tire that I put on brand new just keeps on leaking, and I don't want it going flat and ruining it. So I believe we're going to have to buy an injection pump for this thing and a radiator, because that one, the bottom's completely gone. I mean, it's like somebody took a screwdriver and just went, die, die, all over the bottom of it. So it just leaks out every which way. You know what I mean? And here's the Bronco too. This thing, when I bought it, paid $500 for it. Knew it had a blown head gasket. Still tried to drive it home. Had to put a new starter in it because the reman one that was locked up, well, it done reman things. That's what these starters are known for. Not only that, I had to ruin the screwdriver out of my Pittsburgh toolbox, which is cheap anyway. It's the reason why I didn't care. And I had to cross the lines between the solenoid just to start it. And when I put fluid in it, in the antifreeze, wouldn't run at all. Drained it out. Man, thing run like a brand new one. No tick, no nothing. No, maybe there was a tick at first. I can't remember. You're going to have to go back and watch the first video about this one. Like I said, I just can't remember. But I got you an update on this one for the ones who've watched my other video that I posted the other day about the blown head gaskets tearing this thing apart. I got multiple videos you just need to go watch, okay? But these heads right here, well, they look pretty decent. I don't know if they got any cracks in them or not, but the studs in the where the manifolds go, I tried and tried and tried to drill them out. Got even one of them things where you drill it and try to get the bolt that was in there stuck out, used too small a size, and tried welding 15 different nuts on it. Just didn't work. So we're just going to take this and just throw it over there because it ain't no good. And I just went and ordered brand new ones. Yeah, I know. I said I was going to do a budget thing, but you know, that flies out the window when your patience is like this small. I got new heads coming. They're supposed to be a thicker cast, so the cracking issue will go away. I already got all the gaskets that I need. I got new lifters. I got new push rods. I'm going to use the same rocker arm shaft and rocker arms because they look fine and they're set where they need to be anyway. And if not, I can change them up. And you seen how clean I got, you know, them clean with that ultrasonic cleaner. So I got the intake, lower intake. Ain't gonna do me no good on the heads, but you know, that thing worked pretty good on the heads too. So I'm glad I actually got the bigger unit that I was actually able to fit those heads down inside of. I think it'll come in handy, you know, later on. But that's all we're waiting for on this thing. You know, I got a few ideas that I want to do with this thing when it comes to wheels. I don't know if I'm gonna leave these on here. I kind of got an idea for like a budget type wheel, and I got the tires that came off copper. Ain't got but like maybe 2,000 or 3,000 miles on them at best, maybe not even 1,000 really, because I didn't drive it that much after I put them on there. And I believe I'm going to put those on there. It'll give it a nice size increase, but before I do that, I need to do something about these front springs because the inside of these tires are wearing out, and I know these springs are real bad for getting weak. So either I need a new spring or take it to an alignment shop and see what they say and see if I need anything. I might just get them to, you know, take care of all that as soon as I put the tires on. But I might be making a video here real soon with this thing, maybe taking it on a long trip once we get it fixed and just see how it does. I haven't made a long trip yet in any of my vehicles. I think the farthest I probably went is maybe drove it 30 minutes away and then came 30 minutes back home. So that really wasn't a long drive. So to push one, you know, for a good 3 hours on the interstate doing 75 and 80, I think it'd be a good test. But we'll get to that when it gets there. I haven't even put it back together, so we don't even know what we're going to run into just yet. The Tahoe is no longer sitting here. I'm going to get rid of it because I want me a garage. And to be quite honest, I need one with as many projects I got. And I need one with a lift because it'll make it a whole lot easier working on these vehicles. So I'm sacrificing the vehicle that I put a lot of money, time, and effort into. One my buddy helped me with, and the one that, my wife kind of helped, funded with it too. And I'm very grateful to both of them for him helping me, put that lift on and the wheels and tires. And I'm, thankful to her for, letting me spend the money, you know what I mean, to get that thing to where it is now. And I'm very grateful to, to both of them. He's helping me sell it, and she's allowed me to use all the money that I get off the Tahoe. So that way I could put me a garage right there where the building's at. It'll be on to its next chapter in life, probably to some young boy who's going to take out the back springs and toot it. God, I hope not. Which brings me to my last and final vehicle. I think y'all are going to really like this vehicle that I got. I've already got a name picked out for it. I've already got a name for the Bronco too. And we're going to call the Bronco 2 Todd. And I believe this one's going to be named Chief. Like I said, I love the Fox and the Hound, so we already got Copper. And we already got Todd, so we had to get ourselves a Chief. You know what I mean? I believe this thing's going to be a good addition to the channel. And I'm real excited to get it running, see how it runs, and just to drive it. Because I believe this one's going to be a real cruiser. And I believe every one of you that's on the channel is going to like it too. But that's about it, guys. I wanted to, get y'all to know the real me, what I do, what's going on, and just, update on my life. I want to be real with y'all, just like I expect y'all to be real with me. You know what I'm saying? In the comments, I don't care if y'all are, tell me how it is, tell me what I'm doing wrong. That's how we learn. You know what I'm saying? I just like to have a good group of people to come along with me, help me along. There's been some people on here that's commented on my videos from day one. And man, y'all have been faithful, and I appreciate that. Y'all watch my videos faithfully, comment faithfully. And I appreciate each and every one of you that have. We're up to 688, and I'm very blessed to be able to keep on doing this and to keep on posting videos. By the way, if you haven't yet, make sure you like this video, share, subscribe, smash that bell. Do whatever you can so that way people can see more of this cornbread content. I try to keep it wholesome, try to keep it clean, and, family oriented. You know what I mean? I'm a family man, and I got wholesome values. So, it's what we try to do. Along with some laughs too. I mean, we're all human. We all like to laugh, cut up, carry on, do whatever. But I love you guys. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all fellers later.